The morning air was cool when I arrived at school, the kind that settles softly on your skin before the sun decides to be cruel. Dew still clung to the grass, and students were gathered in small groups, their voices low, their laughter unhurried. I took my seat in class early that day. My heart hadn't fully settled since the evening before. His words still lingered, heavy and warm, like something unfinished. I kept telling myself it was nothing. Just kindness. Just encouragement. It was a simple conversation, a teacher caring about a student's future. That's all. When Mr. Adebayo entered the classroom, the energy in the room shifted almost immediately. The low hum of chatter died down, replaced by a respectful silence. "Good morning," he said, his voice filling the space. "Good morning, sir," we replied in unison. He placed his books on the table, adjusted the chalk between his fingers, and began the lesson just like any other day. Grammar, comprehension, sentence structure, ordinary things. Yet my attention kept slipping. I found myself watching the way he wrote on the board, listening to the rhythm of his speech, anything but the actual lesson. Halfway through the class, he suddenly paused. "Let's do something different," he said, turning to face all of us. "I want someone to read today's passage aloud." A few heads dropped instantly, a common reaction to avoid being picked. His eyes scanned the room, moving from one student to the next. Then they stopped. "On me. You," he said gently, but with an authority that left no room for argument. "Can you read?" He called my name. The sound of it in his voice felt strange. So clear, so deliberate. It was different from how anyone else said it. My chest tightened, and as I stood up, my knees suddenly felt weak and aware of themselves. "Yes, sir," I managed to answer, my voice a little shaky. I began to read. Every word felt louder than the last, echoing in the quiet classroom. The room faded away until it was just my voice and his focused attention. I could feel his eyes on me, not judging, but listening. When I finished, a brief moment of silence followed. It felt like an eternity. "Well done," he said, and his words were like a warm blanket. "You read with understanding." A few students glanced over at me. I saw Zainab give me a small, knowing smile from across the room. I sat down slowly, my hands trembling slightly beneath the desk, trying to process the wave of emotions. The lesson continued, but I was no longer fully there. I was replaying the moment over and over in my head. After class, as students rushed out noisily, eager for their break, I gathered my books and headed for the door. Just as I stepped outside into the hallway, I heard him call my name again. "Please wait." I stopped, my heart skipping a beat. He stepped closer, careful to keep a respectful distance, his tone calm and low. "I wanted to ask," he said, lowering his voice so only I could hear. "Have you ever considered entering any writing competitions?" The question caught me off guard. I shook my head, feeling a little embarrassed. I didn't know people like me could. He studied me for a brief moment, a thoughtful expression on his face. Then he said, "They can, and they do." That was all. He turned and walked back into the classroom. Yet, as I walked away, my heart felt too full for such a short conversation. Before that morning, before he called my name in front of the entire class, I had lived quietly within myself. In our village, girls weren't really taught to stand out. You were taught to behave, to listen, to stay within the lines drawn long before you ever arrived. Dreams were allowed, but only quietly, carefully tucked away where no one could see them. Mr. Daniel Adebayo came from a world that felt so far from mine. He spoke as if possibilities were normal, everyday things, not fragile hopes you had to hide in your chest. To him, calling my name was probably just another classroom moment, a simple way to engage a student. But to me, it felt like being seen for the very first time. I reminded myself again of what everyone knew. Teachers leave, corpers move on. The village remains the same. But that afternoon, as I sat alone under the big mango tree during break, I caught myself wondering something I had never dared to wonder before. It wasn't just about whether he noticed me, it was about how much he noticed, and whether he had any idea what he was slowly awakening inside of me.